Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very special online event today. It's called How to Experience the Nurturing, Loving Energy of Money. Discover the feminine qualities of money to empower your authentic needs, deeper dreams, and sacred purpose. My name is Stephen Dinan. I'm the founder and CEO of the Shift Network, and I'm really delighted to be with you here, going into a very important exploration, which is really has to do with a deeper spiritual relationship with money. So often we keep money and spirituality in separate quarters, that we don't think about the consciousness around money. And we're here with a true pioneer who's really at the leading edge of this work and has got some groundbreaking ideas and practices to help us shift that relationship to one that's a much higher octave. Her name is Sarah McCrum. She's taught for Shift before. She's a money consciousness teacher, coach, and author. And I think you're just going to learn so much from her today about how to have a different and more empowering relationship with money. So Sarah, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Great. Well, I'm excited to dive in, and we're super excited to created a brand new program based on your latest book. It's called Create a Relationship with the Loving Energy of Money. We're going to share a little bit more about that towards the end of the hour. So more to come with Sarah. So Sarah, let's begin our journey today with a little bit about your journey and what propelled you to really go deeper into the consciousness of money.
Well, the very short version of the story is that I was struggling with money a lot, and I had a business failure, which was back in 2010. And very shortly after that, I was reading a little tiny book that was about money, and it had exercises at the end of the chapters. And one of the exercises said, "What would money like to say to you?" And I was just journaling, making notes, and my pen started writing, literally just started writing for me. And it wrote me a message that was apparently a message from money. And it said, "I would like to tell you to love me." And then it went on and it said, I'm an energy, I'm very powerful and beautiful. So it kind of introduced itself to me as the energy of money, which is quite different from how we have tended to imagine money. It became clear that it is genuinely a beautiful energy that is actually really supportive to human beings. And so that set me on a track from having been a person who rather ignored money. It's the old British way is you don't talk about money and you try not to think about it too much, to somebody who needed to engage with it. And I started writing messages from money every day for a while, which became the book Love Money, Money Loves You, and started the shift. It's like, if you can imagine, I don't know how to explain this. It's like, if you can imagine having a really old-fashioned relationship with your partner, and one day you kind of wake up and realize there's actually a different way of having a relationship, where you're really partners with each other and you don't have the fear-based relation or a dominance-based relationship, or, the kind of old ways that people used to be, but you could have a genuine partnership that's a loving, friendly partnership. It's like that kind of change. And that's what I then needed to explore and experience, first of all, of course, for myself.
It's a fascinating journey, and it's interesting because it makes sense from almost like a shamanic perspective. We're so used to thinking of like beginning to do journeys and connect with larger fields of energy and plant medicines or animal spirits or even geographies or the planet. But you're the first person I was aware of to really do this with money and sort of engage almost at a being level with money. And so I would love for you to share a little bit, first of all, about, maybe a rewiring of from the interior of what the being of money is communicating that it's his purpose is, and how then that informs the shift of relationship.
The way I see the energy of money now, after many years, more than 10 years, 12 years of exploring it, it's an energy that's always present. I see it as the energy of manifestation and materialization and even creation. So it's an energy that's very responsive to us, and it's more connected with our wishes when we want something or we wish for something or we would love something to happen, which is, of course, a really natural thing for human beings to do. It's as if there's an energetic system that responds to that and literally kind of orchestrates the universe, I could say, or orchestrates life to help us to receive what we want, as long as we're open to it. And when we start to understand how it works, we begin to realize that we're part of this very responsive kind of partnership system, almost, of these, in a way, it's rather like beings that run the energy system with beings, the human beings that live on planet Earth and live the lives that we live. And it's the way that we interact, so that when we want something, it doesn't actually kind of go into a vacuum. It doesn't have to be that we work unbelievably hard to get that thing to happen. But there is, as most of us know now, or many of us know, there is a sense like life is listening. So in a way, I see the energy of money as the part of life that is listening to us, responding to us, and delivering to us, sometimes in very beautiful ways, you know, through synchronicities and serendipities and these even miraculous ways, as well as the more regular ways where we decide, you know, we want something in business and we work towards it.
So what's happening with people who have real money issues or money blocks then, if and they're trying to manifest things or have more abundance, and then they're feeling blocked, and so that this orchestration function doesn't seem to be working for them?
Well, the first thing we have to understand is that the rules around the money orchestration, if you like, are very, very strict. So they can only deliver to us what we're really open to. One of the things that really easily happens with people is that they want something. It's kind of like they have a request for it. But for example, many people struggle with the feeling that maybe they're not worth it, or they don't deserve it, or people like them don't have things like that, or this is never going to happen to me. And one of the things that happens is when we say things like that, that becomes part of our wish. And so if I say, I really want this, whatever, a new computer, but I'm never going to be able to get the computer I want, that's what gets delivered to me. I want a new computer, but I never get the one that I want. And so the system, the life system, is very, very precise. And most of us are not terribly conscious. We don't realize the way our thoughts and our feelings are influencing this responsive system, that are influencing life itself, actually. And so we're rather casual with our thoughts and our feelings, and we can be very indulgent even at times with feelings that literally cancel out the things that we want. So money does call us to be a lot more conscious.
So there's a lot of mixed signals that we're putting out. And how about the pieces where there might be totally unconscious signals that we're putting out that we're not aware of? I wonder if that's part of the breakdown or challenge sometimes that happens.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, we don't know a lot of the time that the underlying thoughts and feelings that may be kind of grinding away beneath the surface, and we're really not aware of that. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. We all have that. There's no guilt, or it's not like people are doing something wrong. I think like all the other things that people learn on the Shift Network, probably, we're just wherever we are at the moment, and we're evolving and we're learning and we're growing. So I don't have the feeling like, well, if I'm not manifesting a lot of money, then there's something wrong with me. It's just I am where I am at the moment. It's rather like with your health. If you're not very healthy right now, you're not very healthy. You can get healthier. If your financial situation isn't great, it can get better. But I find also a lot of business people, business owners, benefit hugely from learning and discovering more about the relationship with money, because they're actually very engaged with money. They're really interested in it. They work with it every single day. But very often they also have subconscious and unconscious beliefs and thoughts and feelings that actually what happens is they make you feel more closed. And when you're more closed, it's actually, you're more closed to money, as well as being more closed to people, being more closed to life. So when we can open up and relax and enjoy more, we're more open to life. We're also more open to the energy of money.
So I imagine that applies to our perception of what money is. If we're projecting out, oh, it's terrible, it's like root of all evil, all of that, that's going to just intrinsically lead us to be more closed to it.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest problems I see. In fact, even recently, I've been working with somebody, I meet people who say, oh, yes, I understand that money, we need to bring love to money. But what I often find is underneath that is a kind of, almost a hatred or a rejection of money. And they're saying we've got to bring love to money because it's such an awful thing. The thing that's different about what I'm saying is to say that money itself is not an awful thing. It is not the root of all evil. It is not actually the cause of corruption. The cause of corruption is human beings who may be in pain, they may have fears, they may have all kinds of issues themselves, but they are the people who make the decisions that create corruption in the financial system. And money has really taken the rap for that. Money has been blamed, I think, for something that it hasn't done. Money itself, the more you come to know it, the more you come to feel it, and I'll share this a little later, the actual experience of it, you realize, wow, this is an incredibly beautiful energy. It really, it's so present to us. And if we could only realize that, it allows us to start to shift our relationship with it and actually let go of the conflict that most people experience, whether they have a lot of money or not enough money. Most people feel pretty conflicted about it inside. And I think that that causes a lot of stress and a lot of worry and a lot of unnecessary pain.
Hmm. So in describing today, we talked about the feminine qualities of money, and maybe you can build a little bit on what you've been sharing to talk a little bit about how to relate to the feminine dimensions or feminine approach to money.
Yeah, this is very important, and it's been very significant for many people that our current economy and our current financial system is really very over masculinized. It's become so linear and so driven by the numbers that it's lost sight of value. That's really the fundamental issue that's gone on. And so there are aspects of life that are the most valuable aspects of all. For example, nature is the most valuable thing that exists on this planet and for human beings. And yet simple things like it is more valuable at the moment to cut down a tree than it is to keep it growing in our economy. So our economy has got really out of alignment because it's too masculine. It hasn't got the balance of the masculine and feminine. When you bring the feminine energy in, it's softer. Of course, we would expect that. For me, what I experience is it creates a kind of container, and it creates the space where purpose and values can align with strategy and tactics. And when you get those two working together, you get a beautiful creativity and you get beautiful business coming out of that. If you get too much into the masculine, you lose that, you lose some of the relational aspect. You lose, what I find is the values get lost too easily. If you get too feminine, it's all values and purpose and nothing ever happens. And that's actually not a great situation either. So I found that it's really important to bring both together. But the energy of money brings us a sense of beauty. It brings us a softness and a generosity and a spaciousness, which we don't typically experience in our financial dealings most of the time in today's economy.
Beautifully described. And I really see that the balance of masculine and feminine is at the heart of the larger shift of the world. So it makes sense that this is happening and how we relate to money. And so I want to just invite you to any other reflections on sort of how to understand where our own programming has been tilted internally towards the masculine or feminine, and how to sort of nurture that feminine relationship that you really described beautifully.
One of the ways that I've nurtured it is through a lot of relaxation, really relaxing around money, and then learning to actually experience it as an energy. Because when you experience the energy, you don't need to think, is this masculine, is this feminine, what are the qualities, what are the characteristics, which takes us into our head. Our relationship with money doesn't seem to me to be a very heady relationship. In fact, the further I go, the more I recognize that it's a relationship with all of me, not just with my mind. And so when you can experience that energy or even communicate with it, actually learn for yourself, you have a conversation with money as well, then you start to experience it directly for yourself. And then it's not a theoretical thing. It's something real. When it becomes real for you, you touch into that feminine energy and you're able to use the more masculine principles and frameworks and habits that we're already familiar with, but place them into this softer, more values-based and more generous frame that I just find everything starts to fall into place then, and you can feel comfortable inside yourself about your relationship with money.
Let's say that somebody was starting to activate a project that they wanted to get off the ground, and they had some of this the older programming. They're aware that they're imbalanced, or they have some of the negative projections. How might you sort of step by step a little bit, how do they start to launch that project and do so in a way that's aligned with this feminine masculine balance?
That's a really interesting question, and something that I'm familiar with for myself and working with many people. I think the first thing you have to do is actually relax about it and do what I just talked about, and get a different picture of money. You cannot launch a project and do it a new way if all you know is the old way. So we need to be really clear about that. If you want to do it a new way, you actually need to really examine and explore what would that new way look like and feel like. One of the things that I found to be incredibly valuable in working the new way in business is developing more the subtle skills. So, for example, what I do a lot and what I share a lot with people is the ability to read, where is this project going? What's going to be the consequence of the decisions I'm making, and to read the energy of that. And you can read the energy of money in that. So is this going to lead to a situation or an outcome where the money feels good and the purpose feels good and the people feel good, and generally it's a good outcome for the direction we're going? You can develop these subtle skills so that you're able to read. It's like a deeper level of intuition, if you like. Most entrepreneurs have pretty good intuition already. We develop that. And then what happens is you can use the energy of money to help you to make decisions that will lead you in a direction that integrates. In a way, it integrates the spiritual and the material. It integrates the values with the strategy. And the most important thing in projects, and I can say this from so much experience, is that when things get difficult, which they almost always do, and often it's the money that gets difficult in new projects and new systems, it's really, really important to stay in touch with the true energy of money and the true purpose of what you're doing. Because if you get derailed by thinking it's all about money and nothing else, you will throw out all the good work you've been doing. And it happens really often. It's very, very important that we put the purpose. Well, I think actually that have that container and the direction and the purpose and the values really clear. And even when it's really stressful, never, ever walk away from your relationship with money. Cultivate it. Just keep cultivating it. And that's the way that you can navigate through difficult times.
So here are a number of things in there that are really important, and sort of the purpose, articulating the purpose and values, and really not straying from those. And then also not assuming that it's always going to be easy. Sometimes I find that a lot of people in the kind of manifestation, secret kind of circles, they always kind of make it seem like it's always going to be easy to just, snap your fingers and do things. But, it still requires work and overcoming challenges a lot of times to launch anything.
Totally. Yeah.
And I think I really appreciate that groundedness in how you're approaching this. So one of the other areas I think that would be useful to kind of set the bigger context is some of our languaging. And so a lot of our language kind of reinforces old paradigms versus new paradigms. And wonder if you can help us see, what are some of the key things you want to relanguage around money so that it leads to this higher octave.
The first thing that I'd like to say about language is that the messages that I received in written form from money were incredibly simple. They're simple enough that a child could understand them, and people often comment on that. So the messages are very, very readable, and it doesn't use any special language. So it's things like enjoyment, enjoying business. That's a very important theme in there. And that's more of our inner language than it's our outer language. We can all relate to enjoyment. Money talks about how we can align our businesses with our values and also with feeling good, well-being. These are simple words, but what I've found in this work is that it's about making it real. It's about filling the words with meaning. So when we talk about well-being in business, we're not talking about, oh, yeah, I do my yoga, but I'm exhausted in the afternoon. We're not talking about I tick the boxes. We talk about, do I feel really well? Do I prioritize my well-being in my business? Am I able to run a business in such a way that I can bring these things together? And so for me, the language of money is the language of human beings and the language of our real values, and making that as real as we can. And look, that also isn't always easy, but whatever steps we take in that direction are worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that in terms of being able to have this tangible experience of money as a benevolent energy and to have a loving relationship, that it's helpful to kind of personalize in some way, like even name money or have a kind of some sort of like way that we sort of like it becomes more concrete for people to feel and relate to money in that way?
I think some people do that. I don't do it myself. For me, I just see it as the energy of money, but it does feel like quite a personal relationship. And when we bring relationship language to it, it really makes it come alive. Suddenly we understand the dynamic. We've often thought of money as something that's out there. And to link it with the language question, actually, which I think there is a piece to that. You would never, with the relationships, say things like, I want to bulletproof my business. There is old language that's very heavy and hard that doesn't fit in a loving relationship. So all that kind of language does tend to go out of the window. So what I find is we come more into a sense of relating with money rather like it's a person, but the difference is that it's a love energy all the time. It doesn't get into a bad mood. If I get into a bad mood, it doesn't reject me if I reject it. Whereas in human relationships, we can very easily react against each other. Money doesn't have that reactive nature. So yes, it is a kind of personal and personalized experience. Different people will react to that in different ways.
Mm. Well, this is so illuminating, and I want to give some time to have a experiential exercise. And so, do you want to do that now to really tee that up, and then take people on a little bit of a inner activation to shift their relationship?
Sure. Yeah, what I'd like to do is do a short energy activation, as I call it. So I'm going to introduce you directly to the energy of money itself so that you can feel it and experience it in your own life. So in order to do that, we're just going to close our eyes and sit comfortably, both feet on the ground, and listen and let the words and the energy roll around you, so to speak. So there's no need to try to understand or try to get what I'm talking about. The energy of money is going to be in the field with us, all around you and inside you. It's already there, and I'm going to activate it so that you become more aware of it. Okay. One of the things that we find with this energy is that we need to let go of trying so hard and working so hard. So let's start there. And let's simply open ourselves up to the energy of money. This is an energy that is all around you and inside you, always. It is an energy of love and generosity. It's an energy that connects human beings together. As you contribute your gifts for the benefit of other people, and they contribute their gifts for the benefit of others. Money is an energy that enables these beautiful exchanges to take place. Money flows around the world, constantly moving, constantly working, constantly paying people, constantly being invested. And as that money flows around the world, and some of it flows through you and through your business or through your life, every single one of us participates in this flow of currency, this magnificent movement of value around the planet. So let's open up to connecting money with our own deeper values. What is it that you care about so much? Is it nature? Is it your well-being? Is it your children or your grandchildren? Is it some mission or purpose in your life that feels really important? What happens if we bring that, if we bring your values, unique to you, very personal, together with an energy of money that is loving and generous? What happens if we open up to the flow of the energy of money through our business, through our family life, through our household, and let money nurture and grow whatever it is that you care about so much? What happens if this beautiful energy of money is aligned with the flourishing of nature and the thriving of all human beings? What does it feel like to experience money that way? What does it feel like to be in this field, this energy field, where money works in alignment with humanity, with your humanity, with what you value, with what you treasure, and with what you love? Can you find a place inside you where these can sit together, side by side, where your values grow your money and your money grows what you value? Purely for the sake of contributing goodness, contributing to the well-being and the wealth of others, the true wealth of our communities. This is what money really is. It's an energy that nurtures us. It's an energy that responds to us. It's an energy that enables generosity, not only from you to another person, but it enables generosity from others to you. Can you give yourself the space to be generous towards yourself, truly generous, because that is what supports you to be generous to others. And can you give yourself the space to be loved by money, the energy of money, the living energy? Can you allow that love into your being, connected with money? If you can touch this even for a few seconds, you're beginning to open up a new relationship with money that holds the prospect of true joy and fulfillment in business and in personal finances that support your life desires, your life dreams. Money is an important and powerful energy. It is very present right now. It loves to be experienced. It loves to be received. It loves to be shared. And it loves, above all, to nurture your wishes and your dreams and your potential. So let's take a moment to appreciate this beautiful energy flowing through the group of people who are listening to this activation now and at any time in the future. Knowing that what you appreciate appreciates, it grows. Let's say thank you to the energy of money for showing up here and enabling you to feel its presence, to taste it. And thank you for sharing this experience with me.
Beautiful. Well, that was really quite nurturing and healing to just start to shift those subtler levels of relationship with money. And yeah, really beautiful. What do you recommend? How do we continue that journey and continue to work with that establishment of a different way of relating?
Just allow yourself to be soft and open. Know that this energy exists and be curious about it. If you're curious, it will show up in a different way. If you allow yourself to be relaxed around it and to invite it into your life, just invite it in, not so much as like hard money, I need more cash, but just invite the energy to be more present. The cash, the things you need to manifest, it's not always cash, but those things, they will follow as you open up to the relationship. I would say curiosity is actually the most important thing.
You know, one other area that we said we would go into a little bit today, which I think is really interesting, is that how this energy of money can actually be the integrator between our spiritual and physical life. And I'd love to really explore that concept a bit more.
Yeah, this is very important. The world tends to divide into people who are pretty materially focused, often in business, need to make money, need to focus on it. Maybe they have families they need to support, and often will cut off from the spiritual side. And some people I come across are very afraid of connecting with their true purpose because they're afraid that it will limit their ability to make money. And then we have the other group of people who are very purpose-centered, very values-centered, and are often quite afraid to make money because they're afraid that it will actually taint their purpose, or it'll somehow make them a less virtuous, a less good person. And it's very obvious that a lot of this has come from spiritual teachings and religious teachings from all parts of the world. So what I found is so interesting about money is if you think of money as notes and coins, these are little pieces of almost nothing. A note in itself, a piece of paper or plastic, has no intrinsic value, but it represents value. And it represents value that can turn from a wish. On my side, I'd really like to do a course. I'd really like to buy some new clothes. Just a wish, which is so intangible. And actually, our true wishes, in my experience, come from our soul. It's like my soul would love to have this experience. And money is the thing that turns that wish into something material, where you actually can go and buy those new clothes and you get the clothes. So money is really powerful because it sits at this kind of intersection between materiality and spirituality, between our soul's desires, our life desires, and the fulfillment of those desires in the physical 3D world that we live in. And what I find is when we can integrate those two, which is what I've been talking about all the way through, integrate your soul values, the real deep values, with business, with budgets, with how you spend money and how you invest money, then what happens is you integrate your spiritual life with your material life in a very pure way. And this is such a funny thing to say because money has almost been the opposite of purity. But if you look at it another way, it's so pure, it's nothing, except that it has this power to transform. So I think that it's one of the most telling things because money doesn't really lie. If your bank account goes down, it goes down, and the numbers are there. The material reality is really obvious, but it responds very beautifully to the spiritual reality. And so it's a very nice place to experiment. You can really see how well you're doing. And, you know, take the experiment lightly because we can do well and do badly. And I do well sometimes and I don't do so well at other times. And it's all learning for me. It's not something where overnight you're suddenly going to come, you know, Mr. or Mrs. Sparkly Manifester. That's another world. That's not this one. But really by just, again, being curious about how we integrate these two things in our relationship with money, that's where very beautiful things can start to emerge for you.
I really appreciate that depth perspective, and it really turns it into a transformational path rather than just kind of a instant fix, wish fulfillment or something. So I really appreciate everything you're sharing here today. And I think it might be helpful to hear about a case study or two, people you've worked with or something from your own life to really see how in taking on this kind of spiritual transformational path with money actually leads to a much more joyful and abundant life.
It's interesting. I was running a client session this morning, actually, and 3 or 4 people showed up in a row and said, "Oh, I want to say thank you." It was a group session, so they were kind of sharing their results with other people. And what I notice and what I love about this is this consistent pattern of people over time, not always immediately, but over time, sorting themselves out in their business. So 2 or 3 people in a row said, yeah, my business is going really smoothly now. I have, focused for a while on making more money and getting the clients I want, and it's really working. They say it really works. And at the same time, what you see is their relationships are getting better. They're literally, like one was talking about her relationship with her mother and her husband are so much better because this is a relationship that we're working on. The relationship with money is the same as our other relationships. So that gets better. Of course, we're releasing a lot of conflict and stress. So our health and well-being gets better. So people are just happier and more relaxed in their life. But it's accompanied by the way I see it is typically we'll start with somebody who gets some manifestation results, but the people who kind of dig in a bit and really follow that curiosity that I talked about, little by little, they turn around the way they do business, and then it will never be the same again. That's where the really big change happens.
Really interesting points. I hadn't actually even thought about how changing your relationship with money could ripple into relationships with other people as well. But you're right that it's such a foundational relationship with how we relate to the flow of everything that it's naturally going to impact how we relate to loved ones or friends or allies as well. Really beautiful.
And just imagine, like, if you can actually love and have or even have a friendly relationship with the root of all evil, you can probably do it with just about anybody. It's actually quite fascinating when you're really confronting one of the big kind of demons of our culture. So I think that it's a really worthwhile thing to do from that perspective.
Hmm. Sarah, you are just a revelation. And so I feel like there's a rewiring that just happens talking with you that's really so beautiful. And so I want to spend some time talking about your new program. And I know you've created this new program from scratch. It sounds a bit like one you taught before, but it's actually very fundamentally different and a new program. And we're really blessed that you've partnered with us on it. So it's called Create a Relationship with the Loving Energy of Money. Dissolve financial blocks, connect with your values, and activate your sacred purpose. It's at the URL lovingenergyofmoney.com, lovingenergyofmoney.com. It's a 7-week program. There's no prerequisites. And Sarah, I'd love for you to share first, just on a high level, what are your intentions for the program? What do people come away with?
The first thing is that I would like you to get a much deeper understanding of what money actually is, because the minute you start to do that, some of the things I've been talking about, as you're describing beautifully, Stephen, your energy actually starts to change there and then. There's a rewiring that happens as you go into it. So this course is a bit different from my other courses. It's directly based on my book, Love Money, Money Loves You. We're taking the messages that money shared with me and unpacking those. And so that understanding, as it deepens, will start the rewiring process. And that means that you start to get different financial outcomes directly. The other thing that's really important is the relaxation piece. It is very important to relax and enjoy your relationship with money. And so that is one of the outcomes that will happen. Why that's important is because when you're relaxed and enjoying, you're more receptive to the energy of money, and that makes it easier for you to get financial results. So your results will be your results suited to your life. But if you have the openness and the understanding, it's then in your hands. What I'm doing is putting the power into your hands to be able to be the creative person in your life who can create the outcomes that you want.
Beautiful insights. Module 1, create a new relationship with money that supports your deepest values and purpose.
Well, this is where we start right at the beginning of the book. The very first messages that money shared with me, which are really about the energy of money. What is it like? It's about relaxation that I just mentioned. We go right into relaxation right from the very beginning. And also coming a little bit into the mystery of money. We tend to think money is this very material thing and, we can just conquer it or master it. But actually, it indicates to us that we will never really understand it. And when we open to the mystery of money, that's where our curiosity and our attraction kind of gets stretched in, and we start to learn much more, and that becomes the foundation of our financial life.
Module 2, develop a new blueprint for making money to foster new energy, confidence, and integrity with finances.
The fourth chapter of my book is actually called A New Blueprint for Making Money, and it's very radical in a way, and at the same time it's really, really simple. And so we're going to go through some steps that enable you to let go of your old relationship with money and your old understanding of money and embrace this way that is very emergent. It's very natural. It's very simple. It doesn't require you to change your job or do something really difficult. It shows you how to change your relationship with money and engage with money and therefore get better results as suits you from exactly where you are right now. So it's simple, it's radical because it's very different, but it's not difficult. It's actually something that you can do whoever you are and wherever you are.
Module 3, cultivate the energy of receiving and spending money with ease.
Receiving and spending are the most important topics for most people. Many people want to receive more, and many people feel very tense around spending, especially when it's bills and things that they don't particularly want, they just need. And so we need to understand how money works in relation to receiving and spending money. And in the book, it gives us some very clear examples of exactly what you need to do within yourself, inside yourself, to make you more receptive to money. And it also talks about how you can spend money in a way that opens the flow rather than closing it through tension and worry and stress. So we're going to go into that. And again, it's going to be very experiential. I can actually share with you that inner position so that you get it for yourself. What does it feel like to be really receptive and to be at ease with spending money?
Module 4, deepen your appreciation of value to enhance financial abundance.
Value is really the center of everything about money, and value is where money, the energy of money, sits in your soul. Whenever I've done soul work with people, it always comes to value when they're having a problem with money. So we need to understand about our own value and the value that other people put on themselves. They play into the value equation. We need to understand how to price things, how to put a value on a product or service that works for you and works for the other person. And most discussions about that I hear don't take account of the full, rich value formula, if you like, that money showed me in my book. So we're going to unpack value so that you can look at all the dynamics in there, and then any transaction you're in, whether it's hiring somebody or it's navigating or negotiating a price or it's buying something, you know what the dynamics are that are playing in that, and that gives you control and power.
Module 5, explore a second blueprint to align your vision and values with making money.
Well, just when I thought I'd got a great blueprint, I was given another blueprint. This one goes deeper, and it's especially about aligning your relationship with money with your values and with your dream. There's a very big emphasis on dreaming and allowing the expansiveness of your vision, but how do we make that real? Not so that it's not a frustration, it's something that you can actually bring into being. And I will share some of my experience, because I'm one of those people who's had a very big vision and has done the work to be creating that as a real business. And I know the challenges as well as the joys that exist in that. So we're going to look at how do we turn dreams into reality in the new way.
Love it. Module 6, expand your blueprint and financial vision with enjoyment and confidence in money manifesting abilities.
So enjoyment is a constant theme from money. Money cannot understand why human beings are so serious about it. And it's always saying you need to enjoy more. I've already explained why. It makes us more open. When we bring enjoyment and expansiveness, we don't restrict ourselves and say, oh, I can't do that, and I'm not good enough for that, and this is too difficult. And, you know, we make it so complicated, but allow ourselves to be relaxed and expansive and grounded, okay? And grounded. Then those dreams that we talked about that are the foundation of this blueprint, we can actually track over time. How do we bring that dream into reality? How do we grow it? How do we attract all the resources we need for that to happen? There's a lot that happens when you grow a project or a dream. And so that starts to fill out some of the details of how we do that.
And finally, module 7, gain guidance from guardian angels to navigate challenges and finalize your money blueprint.
So this was the final piece of the second blueprint. It's like, engage your team. You're not just here on your own with a bunch of other human beings. You have guardian angels. You have a multi-dimensional team that is working with you and for you all the time. And so we're going to actually engage with them. We're going to explore what they can do for you, how they help you, how you can interact with them, how to know whether they're real or not, all the questions that come up. And this is like a superpower in business or in life. Honestly, if you know how to work with that kind of team, you have a whole extra power in business that, frankly, most people have no clue about. And it is so valuable to be able to do that. If you know how to get good quality guidance in your business at a above or beyond human level, you will find a kind of security and protection and direction that is, it keeps you on, it can keep you on track over many years and through many challenges.
What a fantastic program, and really just so groundbreaking and so practical as well. So again, the whole program is laid out in detail at lovingenergyofmoney.com, lovingenergyofmoney.com. So if you sign up, you're going to get not only the 7 90-minute live sessions that we just described with Sarah, that also includes time to ask your questions and do interactive exercises. You also get recordings, both video and audio, for every session, as well as word-for-word transcripts. This really gives you a library that you can keep referring back to, go back to practice, go back to key insights, revisit your plans. There's a lot that's helpful in terms of being able to really rewire your system over time. There'll be weekly exercises for home. There's a Facebook community that supports you and creates a real sense of community globally around this, as well as small group time to connect with other participants. And on the page, you'll see a number of extra bonuses that are designed to enhance your journey and complement the core teachings. You actually get a full PDF of Sarah McCrum's book, Love Money, Money Loves You. It's Align Your Values with the Deeper Purpose of Money. Can you share a little bit about that PDF?
Well, yes, I'm going to give the PDF of the whole book because the course is based around the book, and it's obviously really important then that you are actually able to read it. This is your manual, your primer, if you like. This is where you shift your understanding of what money really is and how you could have a relationship with it that enables you to thrive. And it's a book you can come back to time and time and time again, because every time you read it, it gives you something new. It is primed with the energy of money, and some people can literally feel it as they read it. And some people also get actual financial results just by reading the book. So it's the kind of central treasure, if you like, of all of this work.
Love that. I love that people get the whole book as well. So there's also a series of audio podcasts with Sarah and Matt Murphy. It's called Discover the Spirit of Business. You want to share a bit about those audio podcasts?
Yeah, this is where the material and the spiritual come together in a way. Matt's a very good friend of mine who's an accountant, very grounded, used to advising many different kinds of business owners. And then I come along with all these new ideas about money. And every episode of this, The Spirit of Business is the name of the podcast, Matt would bring a problem that he had experienced with his clients. And then we kind of tease it out together to bring it into this new way of experiencing business and money. And so it's a collection of podcasts that are really a demonstration of how you can do that.
That's a great extra bonus all by itself. And then there's one special one that people get when they sign up by midnight tonight. And this is called What Are Your Financial Strengths and Weaknesses? This is a money assessment and full course from Sarah that is just your bonus when you sign up by the end of today. Sarah, you want to share a little bit about what are your financial strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah, this is actually a way you can prepare for the course, if you like. It starts with what I call the money scorecard, and you answer 40 questions about different aspects of your relationship with money and your work and your purpose. And then you get a report at the end, but that flows into a little course. And it takes each of the topics from the scorecard and shows you how to start to open up your energy in that particular area. So the first is how to open up your energy around money, then how to open up your energy around work, and then how to open up your energy around purpose. And the last piece, very important little piece, is about financial organization and being disciplined around that. So it's a really valuable little course, and it's a great one as a fast action bonus because it means you have something you can do right away. That means you'll be better prepared even when you come to the beginning of the actual course.
Well, that's a great reason to go ahead and move forward today if people are feeling called. And it's really clear to me, just like the depth of practice and understanding that Sarah has and the practical benefits of shifting this relationship, given how much influence money has on every sector of our life, that the relationship with money is really foundational. And to really take that to a level of spiritual understanding and integration that marries the spiritual and the practical, what a gift to give to yourself. And it's really such a blessing. So we've kept the investment for this program very accessible. It's just 3 payments of $128. You save 10% when you pay in full with one payment of $349. The course is going to start July 24th and run Wednesdays at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. But even if you can't make the live times, you can still get the full value with the recordings, the transcripts, and the community as well. And I particularly encourage you to go and read through some of the testimonials at Loving Energy of Money. I'm forever grateful for the teachings of Sarah. As a result, I have a solid understanding of the energy of money and tools to engage with. Of course, transform my understanding. The money is not only material abundance, but so much more. Definitely recommend her work to anyone. Really great testimonials from students who have studied with Sarah before and really experienced the benefits in their own life. So you're in great hands, and you will get a really valuable upgrade to your whole relationship and all the dimensions of your relationship with money if you choose to go forward. And it's all at lovingenergyofmoney.com. So, Sarah, we're at the end of our hour. I really love learning from you. I think you have such an empowering perspective. Anything that's still on your heart that you want to share with folks who are considering joining you for the program?
Yes, I have so many memories of people who've come across the book, the message, and it has literally from that moment changed something in their heart around money and opened up a relationship that before felt really closed or really challenging. And we can't ever escape from money. It is a part of our life. I have found that if we can embrace it and really embrace it with love, which is the energy that it brings to us, the transformation is so profound and it unfolds gently and beautifully, not just over 7 weeks of the course, but it continues to unfold and unfold and unfold. So from this small transformation or start of a transformation, it changes your life because it's, as you said, Stephen, it's such a central relationship. So that's really what I want to share with you, that shifting your relationship with money in this way, really coming to understand the beauty and the love of this energy, is a game changer.
Beautiful. It really is. Well, Sarah, thank you so much. And thank you all for joining. And if you'd like to go further with Sarah into her brand new program, it's called Create a Relationship with the Loving Energy of Money. And you can get all the details at lovingenergyofmoney.com. And you'll get that whole money assessment and course from Sarah called What Are Your Financial Strengths and Weaknesses if you sign up by midnight tonight. So thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you all for joining. Many blessings.
Thank you.